Right, now then, here again. Been a while. It's weather's brightening up, so there's bedding plants to do, isn't there? There's spuds to prepare, all sorts of stuff in the garden. Kept me busy these last few weeks. But anyhow, it's 15th of March 2021, and we're here to carry on our quest to review all 19 Rush albums. And we've come to number 14. I've called this episode Now We Ask the Price of Land. Now, if I was to ask you that off the top of your head, which Rush album that referred to, I think a lot of you might have to go look at some lyrics. But I'll save you that. We're reviewing Caress of Steel, which is my 14th selection. I don't know why, actually. Now I've heard it a few times. I might have put it further up the list, but we'll come to that later. In fact, Caress of Steel is the third studio album, released on the 24th of September 1975. It's 45 minutes 4 seconds long, just enough time to get your roast potatoes done. And it's produced by Terry Brown. 45 minutes being quite long for a vinyl album at the time. The album has a more progressive rock outlook than the previous two, with a lot of music variety and ideas. Neil considered it to be a big step in their development, and this album was made after the band received the Juno Award for the most promising Canadian group in June of the same year. However, for me, it's an introduction to the phenomenon that is the young Alex Lifeson. The guitar work is starting to belie his age of only 22 years old. Neil's still learning his craft as a lyric writer, but he's already warning against mob mentality, considering the future and the past, writing songs of sentiment and feeling. And he's also just starting to get into his sword and sorcery mode of thinking. The title of the album is a comment on the music of the CD. Some gentle, some serene, but most of the time aggressive and heavy. The band were happy with their completed work. However, it nearly finished them as recording artists. We've got another classic opening here with Bastille Day. They do it every time for me. Cracking opening. I did read on the internet. Somebody described it as barnstorming, and I agree with that. Lyrically, it's obviously inspired by the events of 14th of July 1789, when the French people, the people of Paris, stormed the Bastille, which was a military prison and fortress. To this day, the date has been enshrined in French history. It is now France's national day. Lyrically, the song is clearly an early version of Witch Hunt, with Neil quick to criticise mob mentality, even it seems to be acting in a good cause. He presents the question, do the deeds and quotes of the first verse deserve the retribution that is dished out? The king will kneel and let his kingdom rise. However, he's got no choice in the matter. Isn't free the innocence enough? For some it is, but for others it isn't. Finally, Neil reflects that we should learn from history, not make the same mistakes. The track is clearly a criticism of groupthink, a thread of thought that will inspire a lot of Neil's future work. Musically, I'm not having that Led Zeppelin influence. This is Rush, developing their own signature sound. It's not just a straightforward rock song. It has complete change of tempo mid-section. Great solo from Alex, great riff, and fine interchanges between all three. I love it, and it'll be a Rush classic for years and years to come. Track 2, I Think I'm Going Bald. Here, have a look at that. Went bald a few years ago. When everybody used to ask me what my least favourite Rush track was, I always said, Think I'm Going Bald, but no more. Alex is outstanding. He dominates the piece with his double-tracky guitar work and a great solo. Forget about the dodgy title. It's a song about coming of age. The band's status is changing. Dreams are being utilised and realised, and their circumstances are changing. The lyrics also suggest the band have to make decisions what are not natural to them, such as we once liked flowers, now we ask the price of land, and that's where the title of this episode comes from. And you wouldn't have thought that. Most intriguing of all is the final line. Even when I'm going grey, I'll still be grey my own way. Suggests this projected stardom and success will not change them. There's so many profound lyrics are packed into this basic piece of heavy riff-based rock. Check it out more closely. I'm quite fond of it now. I like it a lot. Lakeside Park is the third piece on the album. I mean, this is a place where Neil has a sentimental longing and an affection for the times he spent there in his younger years. Lakeside Park is a song of nostalgia. It's one of the most positive in the Rush catalogue, and it describes a very satisfying period in Neil's young life. He had a summer job at the venue, and these are the memories of that time gone by. However, he still has the insight to realise it wasn't always going to last. Musically, for me, the track has a foot in two different camps. First Flower by Night from the previous album. Plus the tempo has a sort of swagger about it, in which we see a glimpse of Tom Sawyer. Simple Alex riff as part of the album, but a great bass line, nice little solo. But what elevates the song is a fantastic ending. Brilliant last verse with the introduction of an alternative tune building up to a melodic end, always with the threat that it will break into something heavier. Love the finish with its little caress of steel. Love the sentiment. It's a Rush classic. Track 4 is The Necromancer. Wow. The Necromancer at this point becomes Rush's longest piece of music to date at 12 minutes 31 seconds. And what a piece of musical theatre it is. Here we find and travel into the dark and prohibited regions of the Necromancer. Or is the trail symbolic of something else? Are we on a parallel course with reality? I wonder. Our three travellers from Willowdale will become mindless spectres stripped of will and soul by the Necromancer. In reality, Rush's record company are attempting something similar in their quest for commercial success. The selection of the Necromancer is quite significant. Its focus on wizardry in terms of summoning the dead to predict the future, when the record company are predicting that the group is finished if they don't do as they're told, when your record deal comes to an end if you don't submit. They bow their heads, defeated. Quite a statement in the lyrics. When straight after, the band break into one of the most noteworthy instrumental passages in their 40-year career, as if to say, fuck you. Of course, in this battle, especially with a playing of this standard, there is only one winner. Prince Bartow returns from the previous album's success. following their own path, not somebody else's. The band are now free, leaving the necromancer to darken other lands or the record company to put pressure on others. Don't forget this piece is titled A Short Story by Rush, and Neil is too clever to let an opportunity go and not have pass on there a bit of satire. Too clever for that. Musically, the piece is Alex's highlight, and I would go as far as to say from the whole Rush catalogue. So many different styles, feels, tempos, time changes. It also includes, in my opinion, Geddy's finest bassline mid-section. 12 minutes of sheer bliss in its 3 different sections. Stunning. I play it constantly, and that's 45 years later. Side 2 of the original vinyl album features The Fountain of Laneth. We've just finished one journey with Rush. Now, here, we're at the start of another. We're about to begin one comprising of 6 different parts and lasting 20 minutes. And this one is the journey of life. Part 1 is called The Valley. This beginning relates to birth and childhood, the development of the inquisitive nature, and a spark of adventure, which leads our hero to seek the source of sunlight and security he has experienced. Indeed, the Fountain of Laneth. We have a gentle acoustic guitar beginning, quite similar to Supper's Ready by Genesis. In fact, Alex admits that he was really influenced by Steve Hackett on this album. Before it breaks into different tempos, which I think identify the different states of mind of our hero, young hero, and also giving him his resolve for his journey. Part 2, Dickax and Narpats. This is quite simply a representation of the disagreement between juveniles, their teachers, and their parents. Narpats being actually an anagram for parents. The words of the track are arguments from different points of view, screamed at each other, and that's done above a track of Neil heavy drumming. Part 3 is called No One at the Bridge, and of course there won't be much of a story if our hero didn't strike out on his own. This part suggests things haven't turned out as expected, and he needs a change of course to look for help. The part has a slow beginning with Alex's guitar forming waves and the motion of the sea. Then the tempo rolls like waves and the swell of the sea before taking off at his peak with a great solo from Alex. Part 4 is panacea, which is the Greek word for cure for all, and it's obviously here that our hero discovers the affection of the opposite sex. This has a likeness to the plot of Odyssey by Homer, where an enchanted Odysseus decides to stay on an island, and also being all at sea, lashed to the mast, which he was, lyrics referred to in the previous track. Our hero may be smitten, but just like leaving his parents and teachers, he desires to continue his quest. Musically, this part is a gentle acoustic piece, melodic tempo, catchy verse, which reflects the temporary haven our accidental hero finds himself. Part 5 is Backhouse Plateau. Here we rock it up in this short, snappy piece, which comprises of a simple 3-chord riff, and it's about wands and hedonism being the subject matter, and it's caused a distraction. And it looks like he's been filling his boots by the way he wakes up in the morning with his head looking at foggy dawns. Well, he's going to have to knock that cask of 43 on the head before he realises he's got something more to give. Our final section is the fountain, and here our hero reaches his goal. The music reverts back to that of the valley, and we have travelled full circle. Lyrically, it describes the anticipation of our hero reaches his target. But once he gets there, there's no solution to his quest for knowledge. He remains as confused as ever. But he does realise that the importance of the journey empowered him and give him a bit of flame to light his candle. And he uses the experience gained to venture on a further quest. The piece ends as it's begun, with the acoustic guitar accompanying his solemn mood. I've grown to like this piece very much, and I regard it as very underrated. In conclusion, I don't accept the media criticism of this album. It's a very mature piece for 3 musicians in their early 20s. Alex has really come of age. Neil's lyrics are beyond his years, and Geddy's melodies and verses are in abundance. He's gone to chuck away. This one for me was massively understood by the critical media and rock establishment at the time, to the extent that it nearly finished the band. And that wasn't Rush's fault, that nobody of any consequence understood what the album was about or realised how good it was. There's not a bad track on the album, and it contains more than one masterpiece. Because the group didn't produce what the record company wanted, they abandoned it. So short-sighted. All I was interested in was commercial success. I consider the album to be the stepping stone, without which we would never have had 2112. It's as good as anything of its time, if not better. The album is looked back upon by all Rush fans now with enjoyment. It eventually realised gold status in 1993. It stands the test of time. Even on the surface it might look like the sword and sorcery work. I can't criticise it. I'm only slightly bit disappointed inside, so because it's a bit disjointed for me. But they're all well-written songs, and for me, all Rush fans should stand up and defend the album. Star of the album is Alex Lifeson. Alex states, as I've said before, he was influenced by Steve Hackett during the time. However, I would like to think what was happening with Alex, with his own influence and his own style, was steadily growing. And during the 70s period, Alex was just absolutely amazing guitar player. I mean, some of his live solo work's brilliant, and it's highlighted on this album. Presentation, the Rush album to feature. This is the first Rush album to feature the artwork of Hugh Sam, who has designed the cover artwork ever since. Looming grey clouds and the necromancer with his serpent by his side, surveying over his forbidden lands, a reflection of Rush's sword and sorcery area. Lyrics of the album got to be everyone gathered on the 24th of May, sitting in the sun to watch the firework display. But I do like Life is Just a Candle and A Dream Must Be Its Flame. There's lots of examples on the album of great lyrics from Neil. He's really developing his style. Well, little known fact. I'm going to refer you to YouTube and a little sketch involving Tommy Saxtondale, aka Steve Coogan, called Rush Love. Tommy Sax, so just put Rush Love, Tommy Saxtondale in the box in YouTube. And it's great. It's brilliant, especially in the context it's used. I love it. I'm not a big Steve Coogan fan, but in fact, he uses another Rush track in a sketch and gets it all wrong. But this, put it in, it's brilliant. It gets it right. Right, that'll do. I'll leave you be. Keep safe, and I'll see you in number 13 when we get there. I've got a few distractions at the moment, but we'll get there. So, yeah, keep safe, look after yourself. See you later.